Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I'm going to show you how you can dry emboss with your stencils. So let's jump right in. Now here is a photo of the finished card to show you the direction that we're headed. I'm going to show you how I emboss it and ink blend, as well as pull all these pieces together. So here you can see a little bit of dimension, but it's easier to see in person. Now this is a Spellbinders Platinum 6. This is the new kind of extended plates. This will work as well if you have the older version, but I'm going to use the directions right on the base plate here to kind of go through this process. So I have the full base plate, the second base plate, I have my lightweight colored cardstock, as well as my stencil from A Colorful Life Designs, and I am just going to tape those together, and I also have the rubber mat that comes with it. So I have the two base plates, the rubber mat, the paper with the stencil on top, and then I will show you the final plate in a moment. But again, I'm just going to use this mint tape because I don't want it to shift as I run it through my embossing machine. So this is a way to use your stencils not only for ink blending or the traditional ways, but you can stretch those supplies and get a little bit of dimension. Now this is the adapter plate, so this is the instructions for my particular unit, but be sure to create whatever sandwich works for your die cutting or embossing machine. And then I'm going to take this off and show you what you get here. Now it's a little hard to see on screen, especially on the front, but when I flip it over, you'll be able to see on the back, it really did create those indentations from the stencil. So this isn't going to be as dramatic as a 3D embossing folder would be, but it does give you that cool texture, which is really evident in person. So now I'm adding also the shim just to add a little bit more pressure. So again, I'm kind of just winging it and feeling, the amount of pressure to gauge how much pressure I can apply to really emboss it with that stencil. So again, just have a little play with your particular unit and see what you need. So you can see on the back here, it's much more evident, and I was able to get a little bit more drama through the embossing. Now I'm keeping it all together. In fact, I'm going to apply another piece of tape because I don't want it to shift. So now I'm going to go a step further and apply some ink blending, even though it's already embossed. So it's going to have a little bit of actual physical raised texture from the dry embossing, and then it's also going to have the color from the ink blending. Now here you can see I don't even have any ink pads out. I'm just going to use residual ink from my blending brushes because y'all know I don't clean my brushes. I just leave the ink on there knowing that eventually I'll come back for it at some point. So I like to use neutrals. Don't forget about your browns and your grays and mixing those with your favorite colors just to kind of create some interesting designs. Now here you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see where it's raised, but it does have a little bit of dimension. You can definitely feel it with your hand, so it has that nice tactile feature to it for the recipient. But now I want to make it look even more 3D. So I'm going to do kind of like a faux embossing here. Now what I'm doing is just shifting it ever so slightly to the right. So I'm lining it up with the ink blending and then shifting it, and then coming in with my black or my gray blending brush, and I'm just ink blending all over it. Now what this does is it creates a cool drop shadow. So it makes it look like all these little droplets are actually sitting on top of the actual card panel. So you can see here it gives that cool shadow, and now the next level is to use a white gel pen. So go on the opposite side of your shadow and draw little highlights on, and this really gives it some faux dimension and making it look like it's 3D popping up on top of the card. So again, you have the ink blending, you have the dry embossing, which will physically raise it up a little bit off of your card panel, and then you have the illusion with the white highlights and that gray ink blending to create a shadow. So these are all little tips and tricks that you can use to kind of create unexpected dimension on your card, whether it's actual real dimension or just faux dimension. These are all fun tricks, and you can kind of mix and match and do whatever components you want. Now this particular stencil is special because this is a mid-month release. So this is coming out halfway through January. It will be released on January 15th. That's when I'll be releasing this video that you're watching now. And for that very first week, it will be on sale. So if you catch it In that first week, you'll get it discounted, and you can still use my coupon AmyFan10. Now, if you catch it later on in the month, it'll still be available in the shop. It'll just be full price. So if you want to get the stencil at a discounted sale price, be sure to catch it in that first week. And I will link that in the video description box below. If you expand and scroll down, you click the more, you'll find the links and all that. So I'm just flipping through my critter book. This is my storage solution for my critters. I have one for my sentiments. And I decided to go with that bear. And then I have this sentiment strip that I decided to chop up to kind of make it smaller for the space. And then just to make it pop off a little bit, I used that ink, that black marker there, just to kind of edge around the outside, just to give it some separation from the background. And I will pop those up with my thin foam strips. I'll link those as well below. I get them from Amazon, and I'll put that other sentiment strip on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to position these kind of whimsical, even the bears at a bit of a tipsy angle. I feel like it goes well with that fun whimsy background. But I just love this stencil. I love stencils like this because you can create a subtle background. You could just use a nice big die cut and create a really easy masculine card with like a big happy birthday die cut. You could layer it up with other stencils and create endless looks. So here I'm just using some liquid glue, and I'm going to pop this bear down. So the only dimension on the front of this card is actually the little bit of dimension from the embossing and the little bit from the sentiments. I'm going to liquid glue and put this on the inside of the card. Real quick here, if I can stop dropping things. Place this on the inside, line it up in the center, and that's basically going to finish the design. So I hope you found these tips and tricks helpful. I hope you'll try some dry embossing with your embossing machine and your stencils to really stretch those supplies. Oh, I did decide to come in with a little bit of blingage. So these are white kind of iridescent sequins, and I'm going to put them in odd numbers across the composition in a smattering. I have my jewel picker tool here just to kind of put those in place. But this is obviously an optional step. The background is definitely busy, so you don't really need to do this if you don't want to, but it's a fun way to just kind of take your card up a notch here. I'm struggling here getting them off my jewel picker tool. I have too much glue probably, but that's going to finish the card. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. Be sure to check out not only this mid-month release, but the rest of the January release. There are amazing stencils this month. And there's all the blingage in the shop is also something new. So if you've gotten her little sequins with your orders, you can actually buy those in the shop as well. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll catch you next time. Bye.